I have two goals in cryptocurrency. One is to make banging calls and banging content, and the other one is to make you guys as much money as I physically can. And today I'm going to be going by the saying, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, and you can feed him for a life. What I'm going to be doing today is teaching you guys my exact process on what I do when I'm researching gems in order to ultimately know if a gem is going to be a next big hit or if it's going to be one I fade. If you want to access this entire document, this will be available in the Discord server. You can have access to the bottom part of the pyramid of success prior to the video being launched, and if you're a Patreon member, you'll have bonus access to some major considerations that I also make when investing to ultimately determine the nitty-gritty parts of my research and what I found in a project. If you wish to join the Patreon, the link is in the description. We have 100 spots available at this price before it will be increasing, so you can secure this price for life. That is a Crypto with Zach guarantee. Apart from that, my name is Zach. Just remember, nothing I say is financial advice. Let's start printing some money. So the overall pyramid of success has 15 components in it, and we're going to be going through the first 6 today. The overall goal of this pyramid is to not only understand how to research cryptocurrency and how to understand what a project is doing, but to also understand if retail investors are going to be backing this project, because what we need to do in our research, and it's something not a lot of influencers talk about, I'm here to expose it today, but we need to think about what retail are going to see, all right? And that's very, very important. So what we need to do with our research is level up in understanding what a project is doing, but also level down and look at a project through the eyes of a retail investor. There's a few very important things to consider when doing this. We're going to jump into this right now, but I guarantee if you start doing this and if you start going, like I say, where the money is going to be before it gets there, you're going to make a lot of money this bull run. So the first component in the pyramid of success, and the first thing I ultimately look at, is the name. So you might be wondering, why do you use a name in your research? Well, you'd actually be surprised at how many projects you can rule out straight off the bat purely by looking at the name. So I want a name that's different. I want a name that's new, not something that's called Layer 2 AI or BRC20 Inu or Trump Inu or something ridiculous, all right? I want something that's new and that sounds good, because you can ultimately get out of a lot of vaporware plays purely going off the name. I'll probably spend like under a minute on this actual aspect, but this is a good way, if you have a list of 100 gems, to filter through and get rid of that crap before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff. Because say, for example, if you have 50 of these projects in your list, you're going to spend double the amount of time going through projects that could potentially be scams or pump and dumps. So the first thing I really like to go into depth and look at is the website. So what I'm looking for in a website is basically it includes what the project is. Very, very important for a website, in my opinion. You definitely want to know what the cryptocurrency you're investing in actually does. Also, a professional looking website that is more personal preference. We're going to go through an example of a good website in just one moment, and also that it's easy to follow and understand. This is actually very important, because think about it. Like, if I look at a website and I can't understand what the project is, and I consider my my researching skills and understanding of cryptocurrency to be quite good, and I can't understand what a project is doing, I'm definitely not going to invest in it. Because imagine if an unseasoned new cryptocurrency investor tries to understand what it means. I guarantee you they're going to have a very, very difficult time understanding, and they're probably going to fade that project. So we want a project that is easily able to demonstrate and get out the information about what they're doing, so that not only I can understand it, but I know that retail investors and new cryptocurrency investors are going to be able to understand it. Because when they start coming in, they're not going to do too much research. They're ultimately just going to look at a project, understand what it is, think it's going to change the world, and they'll throw all their money at it. So the website is very important, in my opinion. And we're going to adjust. We'll go into it in just one sec. But also, I want to see what the project is doing. So the scope of the project. So is the project actually offering something new? Is it a utility-based or hype-based project? And is it revolutionary technology? So for this example, we're going to be using Tectum. I'll go into it in just one moment, but Tectum is definitely offering something new, and what they're offering is revolutionary technology, as it's the fastest cryptocurrency blockchain to date and in the world. In fact, they're actually going for a world record of the fastest transaction speed ever, because they want to break their own record. Unbelievable. Also, are they utility-based or are they hype-based? Utility-based projects are better, because you want a utility-based project that is able to generate hype rather than just a hype-based project. Whoops. So a hype-based project in my example would be Hello Labs. I'm sorry, Hello Lab holders. I personally don't hold the project. I definitely think it has potential, but it's more of a hype-based project. And it's also a bit of a bugger when the person shilling it dumps on the market. If you know, you know. But I want a utility-based project that is able to generate hype. And Tectum is definitely going to be able to generate hype as they have the fastest blockchain in the world. They're a scaling solution. I'm sure you get the point. So let's jump into an example of these two components right now. So I've just jumped onto Tectum.io, and we can see straight off the bat, we already see the most bullish aspect of this project, which is the world's fastest blockchain. And anyone that knows what a blockchain is going to associate that with fastest and say, for example, it's a retail investor, boom, they're hooked straight off the bat. Tectum is the world's fastest blockchain, and it says it there once again, really getting that point across. A lightning fast distributed ledger powering the superconductive digital financial environment of the future. So this really hooks those new cryptocurrency investors, and I guarantee you they're probably going to form a special bond once they've left this website and really gain that nice loving connection with this project, and they're probably going to end up bag holding it. But also, if we scroll down just a little bit, I'll just move that over one, there we go. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see that we have 4 main components of the actual project. So the blockchain exceeds 1 million transactions per second and provides instant event status delivery and ownership updates. Softnote, the transactionless payment system for our new superconductive digital environment. Also their crypto wallet and their 3-factor authentication. So we can see right now they're really getting that information out in the most basic way possible. They're not using over complex words or asking ChatGPT to make the most complex sounding description of the project. We don't want that in crypto, all right? All these projects are trying to, use big words and act really, cool. But if a retail investor doesn't understand what the project is, I guarantee you they're not going to invest in it. So we want these projects that really get their information out in the most efficient way possible. We can also see down here they have a very nice graph showing Tectum and its power against competitors. So a retail investor is going to scroll down. They're going to see Tectum at the very end of the spectrum, so at the very top of the spectrum compared to our other blockchains. People are then going to know that Tectum is sending a lot of these coins faster than those actual native chains can send themselves. They're going to read this, the world's fastest blockchain, and go on from there. So what you're looking for in a website is 1, understand what the project is actually doing for yourself, but 2, understand if a retail investor is going to really get a connection with that project and if they're going to invest in it. And I guarantee you a retail investor is going to jump onto Tectum's page, scroll down maybe, a few bits on the website, and they're going to be going straight onto MEXC or wherever, and they'll probably end up aping it. So it's very important to know this about a project. So just summarizing these two, we're using the website and understanding the project scope for our own benefit, so we know if it's worth investing in it for the utility side of it, but also we want to understand if they're able to get that point across on what they're doing in the most basic way possible so that we can understand if retail is going to understand it and if they're going to invest in it. Because I go back to my saying, you want to be where the money is going to be before it gets there. If the project does this, I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of money coming in your direction if you're positioned correctly. Let's get on to our next component. So we have 3 more to cover right now: the narratives, the utility, and the hype potential. I will be going into the other ones in another video, but if you wish to access this document before that video comes out, make sure you join that Discord server. It will be available for everyone. So the narratives. I've spoken about this quite a few times. We want our project to at least be in one of the hot narratives, and the hot narratives are going to be layer 1s, layer 2s, scaling, BRC20, gaming, AI, and real world assets. So these are going to be the top narratives this cycle, and if we can position ourselves correctly in these narratives and where the money is going to be before it gets there, we're going to make a lot of it. Money will naturally be attracted towards us, right? That's how I like to think of it. If we can think and invest and do our research in the correct way, it has worked very, very well for me. I guarantee it is going to work very, very well for you. So we want to identify, are we in the good and hot narratives? Are these narratives going to pump? But it's also better, say for example AGI, you can see it's just been on an absolute tear at the current point. It's a gaming and AI project. You can't really have too much better Yeah, you can't really have a better narrative combination than that. Let's just say that. Apart from Tectum. I mean, Tectum's narrative combination is just surreal. Anyway, so that's what we're looking for in our narratives. Our utility. So obviously we don't want a project that is offering nothing to the market, probably a pump and dump. With our utility, I want to understand a few main things, and I ask these questions to myself when I'm researching. So 1, is their utility practical? Does it have real world use? The reason I ask this is because when retail comes in, and this goes back to thinking when I used to be a little retail investor, when you get into cryptocurrency, you think crypto is here to change the world. And I guarantee you, 90 to 100% of retail investors coming are going to be looking for utility that is going to change the world. So this comes into this aspect here, the hype potential. But we want to look for a project that the utility is actually practical, and is the utility revolutionary? We don't want a project that's just going to copy Octo Games. You don't want that. You don't want a project that is purely based off hype, like a meme coin. I like to stay away from memes. I don't personally touch them. I do it every now and then for a quick rollover of cash, but for my long-term bags, I only go for utility-based projects that are able to generate hype. Also, is the utility readily available? Is the utility up and running? If it's not up and running, are they working hard on it? You can tell this by looking at their roadmap, but really we just want to get an understanding of what the project is doing. Is that utility readily available? Is it revolutionary? And is it going to, quote unquote, in a retailer's mind, change the world? So that's what I'm looking for there. Lastly, the last thing I want to cover is the hype potential. So we want a project with awesome pumpermentals. I go back to AGI for this example. As we can see, the gaming and AI narrative are two of the hottest narratives and two of the biggest pumping narratives, and this project has combined both of them into one revolutionary product. They couldn't have done it any better, in my opinion, so the hype potential is there. But you want to ask yourself, can this project generate hype? I saw this from day one with Tectum. Can this project generate hype? It's the world's fastest blockchain, all right? It is obviously going to generate hype. I mean, look at those pioneers back in the day, the world's new fastest blockchains, those sorts of things. All of a sudden, we have a blockchain that's able to send, 1.4 million transactions per second. So it's obviously going to be able to generate hype in the bull run, and it's going to be sent in the multiples of billions of dollars in market cap purely off that fact right there. But we want to understand, will retail get behind the project? You want to think to yourself, is this project just like all those other projects out there? Or is this going to be that one that stands out from the crowd? We have a lot of layer 1 projects out there, and I guarantee you there's certain ones out there that are going to stand out from the rest because there's something different, and because retail can easily get behind it and push it, because retail are going to be the most important thing to success in this bull run. I wouldn't class any of you right now as retail investors because we're all in early and we all know how to get into crypto and how to trade it. But we just need to understand when they eventually come in, and they're going to come in the billions at a time. We need to be prepared and ready where the money is going to be and get where the money is going to be before it gets there. So this is just the tip of the iceberg in the researching world. I will be going into the rest in a later video, but I like to use all of these as a good way to rule out projects in the most efficient way possible, and also to get an understanding of what a project is doing, whilst at the same time understanding, is this going to attract retail investors? Because retail investors are going to be the ones that are driving the prices up, because that's how cryptocurrency works. The earlier you find a project, the more money you're going to make. And this is how we can ultimately find projects earlier and before anyone else. This allows you, if you use your researching skills correctly, to stop watching YouTube and ultimately research your own gems. Don't forget, this will be available in our Discord server if you wish to access this and have a look at the other aspects in this pyramid of success. Ultimately, I hope the markets have been trading more well. I will see you all in the next one. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing. Make sure to check out that Patreon. The link is in the description. I'll see you in the next one.